Welcome back to Derp Shield's Journey into the Unknown. This is Part 3, Back to the Mun. Initially, the plan for this mission was to do a quick jaunt to the Mun in order to gain a smidge more science before heading off to Minmus. Due to the success of the previous Mun mission, I now have access to bigger fuel tanks, engines, and more importantly, SRBs. This makes the ascent from Kerbin to low Kerbin orbit much easier. After shedding the large SRBs, a trio of liquid boosters complemented by 4 smaller solid boosters start and finish the circularization burn. When the small SRBs are depleted, I spin the ship rapidly to help prevent any collisions. I mainly did this because the large SRBs nearly took off the liquid engines when they were jettisoned. For efficiency's sake, I wait until I'm closer to the apoaps before finishing the circularization burn. Now that the easy stuff is done, it's on to the meat and potatoes of this mission. Alrighty then, we seem to have an encounter with the Mun. Unfortunately, the Mun doesn't like us and wants to fling us into a higher orbit, but that doesn't matter, we have plenty of fuel. Now that the encounter has been planned, I swing the ship around to the correct heading. But with only one SAS unit in the crew cab, this thing is like molasses in January when turning. With the ship's engines thundering back to life, the ship starts its next leg of its journey. Pushing at a rather impressive 2 Gs, this ship increases its speed by about 18 meters per second on average over the course of this burn. Jebediah is the only person who would get bored right now, and having done all this before, he is rather anxious to get back to the Mun. Only Jebediah would get bored while riding on the power of a controlled explosion while he is in space. With the burn nearly completed, the only thing left for Jebediah to do before he reaches the Mun is sit around for 3 hours. With only a little bit of embarrassment, Jebediah realizes that he stopped his burn slightly early and needs to burn for a little bit longer in order to actually encounter the Mun. Upon entering the Mun's gravitational field, Jebediah starts planning his orbit. As compared to his insertion burn, this one turns out to be short and sweet. It may seem hard to believe, but only about 5 hours ago Jebediah was climbing into this rocket to make his journey to the Mun. 5 hours seems like such a short time to travel such a great distance. Now that an acceptable orbit has been established, it is time for Jebediah to play the waiting game, as the crater he wishes to land in needs to be upon the light side of the Mun in order for him to have any electrical power. After about 16 hours of waiting, Jebediah sees his first chance to land in this crater. He makes a small correction burn in preparation for the landing. After establishing a lower orbit, Jebediah begins planning his descent to the surface of the Mun. After a few minutes tinkering with the flight computer, Jebediah has a descent path that will lead him to the center of the crater. Now Jebediah just prays that the spot that he has picked for his landing site is flat. He doesn't want a repeat of his last Mun landing. Upon reaching the center of the crater, Jebediah decides to kill most of his lateral velocity so that he doesn't perform a suicide burn. but instead a slow, easy descent to the surface of the Mun. As we enter about 5 kilometers above the Mun, the booster stage is about to give out. The liquid boosters have served us well. It is now time to ditch them and hope that they all explode into a million pieces when they hit the Mun. At about 400 meters above the surface, I start to kill all vertical velocity and look for a good place to land. The liquid booster stage did in fact hit the surface of the Mun with such ferocity that every part was destroyed in the process. The prospect of exploring new areas excites Jebediah very much so. This, and the fact that he sees the liquid boosters explode underneath him, fill him with joy. Alright, about to make touchdown. Oh gosh, that's not how that's supposed to work at all. Go up, go up! Well, that was a close one. Let's try again somewhere else. Maybe the slope won't be as steep, or I won't mess it up. You never know. Alright, let's try this again. That seems good. Wait a second. Stop leaning! Stop leaning, I said! Come on! I said stop leaning! That's leaning more! No! Come on! Just stay on your legs! Closer. Closer. Alright. That's looking slightly better. Okay. We're on all our legs now. Will it stay? No, it's not staying. Why won't you stay, darn you? Fine. Well, if you're not gonna stay, then neither am I. I'm gonna go find a new section of ground that's gonna treat me right, sir. Ooh, this area looks promising. Thunk. Well, planted myself firmly on the ground and it stayed there. Yay! Now it's time to do the science which we came here to do. Materials bay? Check. Goo canister? Check. Thermometer? Check. EVA report 1? Check. Now for the big one. Ooh, Munder. EVA report 2? Check. Now to plant the flag. Jebediah is very proud that we actually landed on the legs this time. Well, we're done here. Time to go. Now it's time for some greed. Let's head over to that canyon to get some more science. Oh boy, that crater wall's coming up mighty fast. Up! Up we shall go! Boop, 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 burning our fuel, burning our fuel. Boop, 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 boop. Getting more science, getting more science. Worry about the consequences later. That ought to put us close to the canyon. Hopefully we can gain some canyon science while we're there. Here we are, soaring across the mun. Really wishing we had a little bit more fuel right now, because this is gonna be cutting it close. And of course, where we would have touched down, there's a lip. Have to find another spot and waste more precious fuel. Well, that was surprisingly simple. I didn't actually expect to land there. Now to do more science. Wait a second. We've already been to this biome. Yeah, that's what they're called on the mun. Biomes. Well, this is disappointing overall. I hope I can at least EVA down into the canyon and get some EVA reports and some surface samples. At least make this fuel wasted useful. Well, here's a lesson. Don't look the other way when you're doing an EVA. At least I may stop sliding before I fall to my death. Well, on a second thought, let's not go down into that canyon. That was pretty dangerous. Let's hope that we now have enough fuel to get back into orbit and back to Kerbin, because this landing did nothing for us. I take it all back. We got some temperature data. I never was good at efficient returns from the mun. Let's just go this way. Maybe that'll be efficient. Collecting all the science I can before I leave the mun, because I'm probably not going to be back here for a while. And it's a good thing I checked, because apparently I missed a few things. Well, turns out I still don't know how to do an efficient return from the mun, because that is a large orbit. At least on the way out, I get to do some more science, because high above and near, I apparently don't have all of it. Hurrah, more science! Whoa! Wait. Well, thanks, Time Warp. You helped, I guess, but geez, that's not how physics works. At least now we're in a lower orbit, although that didn't help us too much because we still only have 31 meters per second of delta V remaining to us. Well, turns out that second Mun landing, which was for pure greed on the science meter, was not worth it because we didn't gain much and now we're stranded. Again. Time for another rescue craft. Just another standard launch. Well, let's just hurry up through this because we have places to go and Jebediah to rescue. Time to decouple the large SRBs, and to avoid the problems that I almost had last time, I added some utilage Sepratron motors to them. In Bill's haste to complete his mission and get safely back onto the ground, he starts pointing towards the ground, with the engine still firing, some of which he can't even turn off. This is a problem. A large problem. When rockets start pointing down, you know what you gotta do? Just keep spinning, just keep spinning, just keep spinning, spinning, spinning. What do? We spin, spin, spin. Okay, now slow down, stop spinning. Alright, we're good. Time to circularize that orbit in preparation for a rendezvous attempt in a rather elliptical orbit. Yay! Elliptical! They are the annoying ones to rendezvous with. I don't have much more to say on this rendezvous, except that it was rather long and annoying because of the elliptical nature of the orbit. While I don't have anything much more to say about the rendezvous itself, I do have to say that I am thoroughly enjoying the .23 update from Kerbal Space Program. Unfortunately, over the winter break, I was unable to play much of it because I went home to visit family, and I only had my laptop, and it's not capable of running KSP with anything other than Kerbal Joint Reinforcement, so I didn't play much. While I didn't play much KSP over winter break, I did play a little bit. What I did play was mainly focused around learning how space planes and SSTOs work. Turns out they're not that difficult. When I was trying to build them previously, I was doing them incorrectly, like weight distribution wise, or overbuilding them. And I'm guessing Ferrum also had a little bit to say about the difficulty that I was having, because when I was playing over the winter break, I didn't have Ferrum installed. That being said, I will be using SSTOs in the future, just not in the next episode or two, because I already have the footage recorded for that from before winter break. Now that the rendezvous is almost completed, I will say after watching through it, it actually wasn't that bad, just horribly inefficient with all the random plane changes that I did just trying to match velocities and whatnot. Now that the two crafts are relatively near each other, I just finish up some last minute science, collect it all, and Jebediah prepares to venture out across space to join up with Bill yet again. While the two crafts are still relatively close to each other, I forgot to kill all the velocity relative to each other, so they've separated quite a bit, and this spacewalk is going to be a rather long one. After about a 3.5-minute spacewalk, Jebediah is really close to Bill now. Also, during this time, the crafts have separated another 1.6 kilometers. I really didn't bother killing all the horizontal velocity before I attempted this spacewalk or anything. Now that Jebediah and Bill are reunited, they can begin their descent back towards Kerbin to reap the rewards of Jebediah's science mission, even though it went a little bit awry there at the end. With only a single solar panel being destroyed during the reentry process, I consider it a great success, because I was honestly not expecting anything to survive but the capsules. Looks like I spoke too soon. The force from the parachutes fully deploying was a bit too much for the tiny decoupler to handle. So in the end, all that did survive was the capsules. Yay! Expectations were met. With the 588 science that I gained from this mission, I am now prepared to go to Minmus and do some hopping around from biome to biome. That is, if I can find them all. But that'll have to wait till next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.